Hi guys, I'm Helen. This is a 45-minute beginner intro to yoga and pose breakdown class. I really like to slow down in this class to break down some poses. Today we'll focus on chair pose. Break any bad habits that you have. Focus on alignments to really feel comfortable and safe in your yoga practice. And we'll also be sprinkling in some elements of yoga philosophy and other aspects of yoga beyond just the physical in these classes every week. So when you guys are ready, we're going to start standing today. And you can find your way onto your mat, facing any direction. Feet about hip distance or touching, whatever feels the most comfortable. Hands by your sides, palms can face forward. Try to relax your shoulders away from your ears. Open your chest. And eyes can be closed or open. Give yourself a moment to really check in and notice what's going on. Scan your body from your feet all the way up to the crown of your head. If there are any areas that are talking to you or need a little extra attention, imagine that you could send breath into that area. And then notice where your mind is, what you're thinking about today. And if it's comfortable, start to take longer, deeper breaths in and out of your nose. Maybe creating a slight constriction in the back of your throat, what we call our Ujjayi breath or victorious breath. Sounds like the ocean. And it's a warming breath and a really good connecting breath to be present in your body. And our breath practices in yoga are called pranayama. Prana is life force and yama is control or restraint. So by controlling our breath, we're able to direct, control, regulate our life force. If there's any kind of intention you'd like to set for today's practice, this is a good time to do so. It could be a word or a phrase to guide you. And we'll take one more round of breath. Eyes can blink open if they're closed. Inhale, reach your arms to the sky, stand a little taller, look up. Exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. We'll take that twice more. Inhale, reach out and up, gather up some good energy. Exhale, draw it down to your heart space. One more time, full breath in. And breathe it out. Inhale, reach overhead. This time as you exhale, hands pass through heart center, bend your knees a little, and then hinge forward with a flat back. So you're folding from your hips until you can fold over your legs. And your hands may or may not touch the ground. It's all good. Knees can bend a lot or a little. Nod your head, yes, breathe in. And shake your head, no, breathe it out. Keep your knees really soft. Walk your hands over to one side. Let your hips lean a little to the other. Continue to breathe. And then pass through center, take it to the other side. Back to center, hands to shins, send your heart forward, halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, hands down, step back, find a tabletop position, hands below shoulders, knees below your hips. As you inhale, cow pose, lift your tailbone, drop your belly, send your heart forward. Exhale to cat, press the ground away, scoop and round through your spine. Twice more, breathe in, cow pose. Creating mobility and space through your spine. Breathe out to cat. Press the ground away. One more. Nice little warm up for your back. But if anything doesn't feel good, don't go quite as far or feel free to back off. Come back to neutral, inhale. And then exhale, walk your feet back so you're in a high plank upper push-up. And if you like, knees can come down. So a little bit behind your hips here. Slightly longer between your hands and your knees than your tabletop if you've got your knees down. Breathe in, shift forward. Exhale to your belly. I'm going to drop my knees. Elbows hug your sides, lower yourself down. Baby cobra, hands come below your shoulders, right by the sides of your chest. Hug your elbows back, lift your heart, inhale. And exhale, lower down. We'll take that twice more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. One more, breathe in, doesn't have to be high. Breathe out lower and find child's pose. Press your bottom back to your feet. Big toes touch, knees can be wider together. Forehead rests down in front of you, arms extend out in front. Imagine you could direct your breath into your back, especially between your shoulder blades. Feel a sense of opening, a sense of stretch. And then maybe send your breath into your low back. One more round here. Find tabletop, hands and knees, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. And this is just an upside down V shape. I like to start with my knees bent and imagine pressing my chest to my thighs. And then you can begin to straighten out your legs. Mine always keep a little bend. Really tilt your pelvis, your tailbone up to the sky. You're pressing into your fingertips so you're not taking all the weight on your wrists. And know that you can always drop your knees if this becomes too much on shoulders, wrists. Full breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go, make some noise. Once more, big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look to your hands. Exhale, little steps or maybe a hop toward your hands. Find your way toward the top of your space. Feet can be hip distance or together. Lift halfway as you breathe in. Shoulders slide down your back. Exhale, fold, relax your head and neck. Rise all the way to standing, arms to the sky. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. And we'll take that one more time. I'll flow a little bit faster, but still walk through some of those cues. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, fold forward, flat back, stay strong through your core. Remember, you can always bend your knees. Lift halfway, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Feel free to walk your hands in one direction, hips in the other, and then to the other side. Bring yourself back to center. On your inhale, lift halfway again. Find space as if you're pulling the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. And then exhale, fold hands down. Step to your tabletop, hands and knees. Inhale to cow pose. Tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart reaches forward between your arms. Exhale to cat like an angry Halloween cat. Scoop around, press the ground away. And flow twice more at your own pace. If this breath doesn't feel natural, for some people the opposite breath makes more sense. Totally do that. Just make sure that you're still breathing. That's the only rule. Come back to neutral, inhale. Exhale to your high plank upper push-up, or remember you can always leave your knees down. Little breath in, shift forward. Lower slowly to your belly, exhale. One baby cobra this time, lift your heart. Exhale, lower, and press to child's pose. Knees wide or together, hips to heels, forehead down. Back to your table, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Inhale, bend your knees, look to your hands. Step or maybe a little hop up toward your hands. Find your halfway lift, breathe in. Forward folds, breathe out. Rise up, reach up. Hands come together in front of your heart, exhale. So I'll break down a little chair pose and I'll turn different directions so you can see. You're welcome to watch or follow along. I like my feet together, big toes together, a little space between my heels. And then you're gonna sit down like you're sitting into an imaginary chair. And I usually drop my hands for some reason like I'm reaching down and then I reach them up. If this doesn't feel good on your shoulders, you can always take cactus arms. You can always bring your hands to your heart. What we're looking for, and I'm just gonna scoot a little bit, there we go, is we don't want butt sticking way back. We also don't wanna remove the curve of your low back. So we wanna think about a neutral spine. So your tailbone is pointing more down versus forward or straight back. So there is gonna be a little bit of a curvature there. It helps to engage your low belly. I'm wearing a loose shirt today, so a little harder to see. But I'm not just collapsing into my belly, having some strength there to help support your low back. That's kind of number one. Number two is making sure that you can see all 10 toes. So if your weight is way forward on your knees, you won't be able to see your toes. So the goal is to bring more weight into your heels, really press down so you can see all of your toes. And then the arms, again, are just secondary. Traditional is reaching up and kind of in front, so you're making this like zigzag shape. For some people, it feels better to have cactus arms or hands to heart. So I'll take that this direction so you guys can see this way too. Feet hip distance is great as well. Again, I like big toes touch, a little space between my heels so my feet are parallel on the outer edges. Sit low like you're sitting into a chair, and then whatever you want to do with your arms. Try to avoid shoulders creeping up to your ears, and that's where it may help to find a different shape with your arms. This is a pretty intense pose. I feel very warm when I do this. Get a little out of breath. You might feel a lot of quads. You can use more of your hamstrings and your glutes, so press more into your heels and really engage your low belly to support your low back. Super important there. So I'll say that a few times. Breathe here. If you haven't yet found your chair, find your chair shape and just notice where you feel this. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath. Take just an inhale. Exhale, forward fold, relax everything down to the ground. Lift halfway, breathe in. As you exhale, hands down, step just your right foot back. You're gonna rise to a high crescent lunge. Left knee is bent above your ankle, right leg is straight or straight-ish. I like a little bend so I can think about a neutral spine again, not scooping under like chair, not sticking my butt weight out, just more neutral. Arms to the sky. Press through your feet. Feel the connection to the earth. Imagine you could hug your inner thighs toward each other and gently draw your right hip forward with your glutes. Breathe into the front of your right hip. Your gaze or drishti will help you balance. So for you, that might be more comfortable down, forward, up. Feel free to decide in every shape what feels best on your neck and what assists or takes away from the stability of your shape, your pose. Big breath in. Open to warrior 2 as you exhale. Back heel pivots flat. And for warrior 2, what we're looking for is front heel in line with back heel or arch. Outer edge of your back foot is pressing down, so you're not collapsing into the arch of your foot, but you're also not turning your toes backwards. So they're to the long edge of your mat or slightly forward. Hands about shoulder height. Always a little tricky to know where they are in space. Reaching out wide. Breathe here. This one can be a lot on quads as well. So if you're feeling that, try to press more into your heels. Engage your glutes and your hamstrings to help take some of that pressure off your quadriceps. One more round of breath. Inhale, reverse triangle. Front leg goes straight. Left arm up and back to the sky. So front leg is straight, front arm is reaching behind you. Notice that you're not dumping weight into your back knee, but you're lifting up and back to create a little stretch. Give yourself a little break. And then gently cartwheel your hands through that knee bent down to the ground to downward facing dog. You're more than welcome to stay here. You can come to a tabletop, to a child's pose. You can take a little flow, what we call that vinyasa or transition, high plank upper push-up. Remember, knees can always lower. Chaturanga to your belly for cobra or halfway for up dog. Lift your heart as you breathe in. Lower and press back as you breathe out. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, make some noise, let it go. Once more, breathe in. Open mouth, exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look to your hands. Step, hop, walk yourself all the way up. Lift halfway, breathe in. Forward folds, breathe out. Rise to standing, arms reach high. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So we'll take that same little series to the second side, starting with your chair pose. Sit low. Make sure you can see your toes. Engage your low belly, neutralize your spine, and relax your shoulders. In Sanskrit, our chair pose is called Utkatasana, which actually doesn't translate to chair. It translates to fierce. Some people call it awkward pose. I think it's a little bit of both. A chair, a fiercely awkward chair. Some people also call this lightning pose, creating that lightning bolt shape in your body. Find the strength and power here. One more inhale. Exhale, forward fold, let it all go. Lift halfway, breathe in. Exhale, hands down, left foot steps back. Rise to your high crescent lunge. So if you find the balance a little tricky, you might be standing more on a tightrope. Think about bringing your feet about hip distance apart widthwise. And then take any adjustments. Bend your back knee to neutralize your pelvis. Engage your back glutes to draw your hip forward. Relax your shoulders. And steady your gaze. Notice the rhythm of your breath, the depth and the power. Let that keep you present, keep you connected. One more big inhale. Exhale, warrior two, open it to the side. Back heel pivots flat. I have to adjust a little, and that's totally okay if that's true for you too. So find the shape and the distance between your legs that makes sense in your body. Some people will say that your wrists should be over your ankles. We all have different proportions, arms and legs, so that may make sense for you, may not. I'm feeling the second side. If that's true for you, see if you can turn on someplace else to compensate or to help find support. Breathe for two. Inhale, reverse triangle, right leg straight, right arm up and back. Find that lift. Continue to breathe here and send breath, especially into the right side of your waist. Another inhale. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down, bend your front knee. Make your way to downward facing dog. Feel free to stay. Feel free to drop your knees for a child's pose or a seat, or take that little flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. You choose how and when you arrive. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop toward your hands. Lift halfway, lengthen. Forward folds, breathe out. Rise up, reach up, hands high. Palms together in front of your heart. So since we're playing with chair today, we'll do some poses from chair. One of my favorites is eagle pose. And eagle pose is a really great pose to stretch out your upper back and shoulders, as well as your outer hips. So a lot of people like it for that reason. It can also be a little challenging balance-wise, so maybe you don't like it for that reason. You decide. We'll start in a chair, my favorite way to get in. So finding that depth again, the stability and the strength, and then I usually do arms first. You can think about reaching your arms out wide in a T, and then give yourself a hug. You're gonna wrap your right arm below, your left arm on top, and hold opposite shoulders. Another option is to bend your elbows, bring the backs of your hands together or your palms together. And you can absolutely stay with chair legs, or kind of keeping that bend as much as you can. Your right thigh is gonna lift up and over your left. Toes can touch the ground for support. It's actually easier for most people if you sit a little bit deeper. Breathe here. Whatever your arms are doing, whatever your legs are doing, find something steady to focus your eyes on. If your hands are in front, it might feel like you're looking through your arms. That's okay. Notice what your breath is like. We'll take 2 more rounds. We're gonna unwind arms to the sky. Right knee up like you're taking a big step, and maybe your toes stay on the ground. Big breath in. Exhale to what we call warrior 3. Foot reaches back, heart reaches forward. Arms can go wide by your sides like an airplane, to your heart, to your hips. You can hold a wall for balance. I'm not super deep in this pose. I don't like my chest really low. I prefer to be more upright. So find what works for you. The goal is for your toes to point down, your hips to stay pointing in the same direction. So rather than opening things up, you're just hinging forward, lifting your leg a bit. One more inhale. It's a lot on one leg, I know. Exhale, step it back. High crescent lunge, arms up, breathe in. Exhale, warrior 2, open to the side. We've been here before. Inhale, reverse triangle, left leg straight, reach up and back. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Make your way to downward facing dog. Straight back, through a flow. If you want tabletop, cow and cat. If you want a child's pose. If you want to take a moment, knees down, stretch out your wrists, shake them out, please feel free. We'll take 3 breaths wherever you are. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Bend your knees, breathe in, look to your hands. Step, hop, walk all the way up. Lift halfway, inhale. Forward fold, release. Rise tall, reach high, breathe in. Palms together in front of your heart, breathe out. Same thing, second side. So sitting in that chair pose to start, find some depth. Engage glutes, engage low belly, use those to support you. And then arms out wide in a T. Left arm below for eagle, give yourself a hug, hold opposite shoulders, or backs of hands, palms together. Stay with this leg shape, chair, or left thigh comes up and over, toes can tap for support. Same thing here, you might find it easier to sit low. Notice if your knees want to go off in one direction, try to stack elbows and knees in one line. Breathe here. Sometimes it feels good to pull my elbows away from my chest, find more stretch through my upper back. Sometimes I'm just working on balancing. One more full round. Unwind your arms, unwind your leg up like you're taking a step or maybe toes down, breathe in. Warrior 3 as you exhale, foot back, heart forward. So all the balancing poses on one leg are really going to work your glutes, your hamstrings, as well as your core and all the deep stabilizer muscles. It's totally okay if you fall. Find those wobbles, those shakes. Bend your knee if that helps, the standing leg. Steady eyes and breath will definitely help. One more inhale. As you exhale, big step back. Find your high crescent lunge, breathe in. Warrior 2, breathe out. Inhale, reverse triangle, right leg straight, right arm up and back. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Find your high plank to downward facing dog. And then this time drop your knees for a tabletop. Place your palms below your shoulders, fingers spread wide, and then draw your knees together so they touch. This will create a little stability, a little tripod, as we extend right leg back, kind of like you did in Warrior 3. And you can always be a little micro bent, mine usually is. Try to even out your hips, low back, engage your low belly, and then take your left arm forward. Working a little bit more core strength. Breathe here. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Switch sides, left leg back, right arm forward. Notice what muscles you're using to stabilize. Where you feel sensation, where you can send a little bit more breath, a little bit more energy. Inhale. And exhale, release. We'll take our forearms down and find a side plank on your forearms. So starting hands and knees, just notice that your elbows, forearms and knees, your elbows are no wider than your shoulders. And a nice little check is to hold opposite elbows. You can always bring them closer. You're gonna walk your feet back, so you're gonna plank on your forearms, and then shift to your right. And I'm gonna adjust my right forearm a little bit. I like it more at an angle. Outer edge of your right foot down, left foot stacks on top, or maybe it staggers in front. Lift your hips, use your obliques, breathe. Big inhale. Exhale right away to the other side. Drop your forearm. Adjust as you need. Stack your feet, your hips. Lift your top hand. Take a full breath in. And exhale, release down. Forearms down, knees down, hips and belly down for Sphinx pose. And your arms are similar to what they were in your forearm plank. Making a number 11 with your arms, elbows right below your shoulders. Notice if your shoulders creep up to your ears, see if you can work them down your back to lift your heart a little bit more. And if this is way too much, you can always take your elbows wide, stack your hands and rest your head. Otherwise, you're working your upper back muscles to lift your heart. Gently pull it forward. And see if you can soften a little bit in your legs. It's normal for glutes to be slightly engaged. You just don't want to clench. And notice if there's crunchiness in your low back, please feel free to modify and adjust. We'll take this to a child's pose. Lower down, press it back. If you did feel your low back at all, you might choose to take child's pose with your knees closer together. Belly rests on top of your thighs and arms wrap around your legs. Palms up by your feet for an embryo variation. And we'll be here for several rounds of breath. So whatever your shape looks like, take the time to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect. One last downward facing dog. When you're ready, find your way up to tabletop and into your V shape. And take your feet out wide to the outside edges of your mat or wider than hip distance. Hands can come a little closer to your feet. Just press your chest a little bit more to your legs. Notice how this changes what downward facing dog feels like for you. And then walk your feet forward outside your wrists, heels in, toes slightly out for a squat. Bottom comes toward the ground. This may look a little bit more like an upright chair. So for some of us, it kind of looks like this, with your feet wide and turned out. If you can, the goal is to get closer to the ground, but obviously not touching the ground, especially if you're sitting a lot. This may be a super challenging pose to do. So honor what your ankles are telling you, your hips, your groin, your low back. We won't be here too long. Begin to press your elbows into your knees, knees right back into your elbows. Lift your chest toward your thumbs. Take one more inhale. And exhale, lower yourself down to a seat. Bottom on your mat, soles of your feet together, knees go wide. A little butterfly shape, or what we call cobbler's pose, Utkatasana. Lift your heart, lengthen. Hinge forward as you exhale. And I like my hands to stay on my feet and gently press my elbows into my shins. You might prefer your hands forward. It might depend on the day, so choose what you prefer. Let breath create openness and space. So our inhales are connected with our flight or fight, our sympathetic nervous system. They kind of get stuff done, active side of our bodies. People can think of that as a negative, but we can use stress and we can use that energy in positive ways. So depending on how you use your breath in or what you need, you might reframe that in your mind. And our exhales are connected to our parasympathetic nervous system, the more rest, digest, maybe heal mode. So that's a nice place to slow down, to release, to let go. When you're ready, lift yourself up, draw your knees together. We'll take a boat pose. Feet come a little bit in front. Lean back slightly, holding onto your legs to engage your core. Lift your heart, relax your shoulders, and then take one foot at a time off the ground so your shins are parallel to the earth. You can stay right here. If this is too much, feel free to just play with tapping one foot and then the other. If you'd like a little bit more, arms can go wide. If you'd like a lot more, arms to the sky, legs straight. Notice your breath. Make sure you're breathing fully, both inhales and exhales. One more breath in. Exhale, release your feet down. Give yourself a little hug, arms around your shins. Drop your forehead to your knees. Relax your head and neck. And lift yourself back up. Extend your right leg in front. Let your left knee fall out to the side. And your foot can come a little higher on your thigh. Find the positioning, the shape that feels the best for you. Sit up tall. Hands can be by your sides or up to the sky. Find a breath in. And then begin to lean forward over your extended leg. Hands can stay on either side. You might relax your head and neck. Come back to the awareness of your breath and where things feel a little stuck. Maybe you feel a stretch somewhere. I'm feeling a lot of hamstrings today. Maybe you feel like you can't take full breaths or release your breath fully, or you've already given enough. The goal of our yoga practice is ultimately connection, whatever that means for you. It might be to something greater than yourself. It might be mind, body, spirit. For me, it's really connection to what's going on in the present moment, full awareness, without judgment, without labeling or stories. When that feels like enough, lift yourself back up, swap out your legs, left leg straight, right knee out to the side. Find the sense of lift to start, and then again begin to hinge forward over your extended leg. And each side is different. Most of us are not perfectly symmetrical, so you might feel something different or notice something different on each side. Acknowledge that, again, without any judgment. We'll take 3 more rounds of breath. Slowly lift up. For many of us, the slowing down part of yoga, the holding and stretching and breathing, is the most challenging part because we're so used to doing and being active, living in that flight-fight mode or in that survival mode rather than really allowing ourselves to be. So notice if that's true for you, and if not, awesome, congratulations. I know that's true for me. This time with legs out in front, you can choose to take them a little bit wider, and you can always bend your knees. Same thing, you're gonna sit up really tall. Some people like arms to the sky. Imagine there's a beach ball in front of you that you have to lift up and over before you hinge. And then I'll take your entire upper body in one half rather than rounding through your low back. And then I like my knees a little bit bent here. You might like them a lot bent. You can relax your head and neck to find a stretch through more upper back neck area. Yoga has evolved so much over the years, and one of the things that I think is really neat about the evolution is that it's kind of met the people who are practicing it where they are in their lives. So nowadays you see things like goat yoga and paddleboard yoga and aerial yoga, because we like to do stuff and we like to be entertained, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think as long as we acknowledge what it's about and what it means for us, there's so many ways to practice it. And slowly lift yourself up. And then if you need to, scoot yourself forward on your mat. We're going to roll all the way to our backs and take some time on the ground. You can do that slowly or simply plop it down. Place your feet on the ground, knees to the sky. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh and find a figure 4 here on your back. And you can absolutely stay here, or you can start to hug everything into your chest. If you're doing that, right arm goes between your legs, left arm around the outside. Either hold your shin or the back of your thigh and hug it in. When yoga was started, people were practicing one-on-one with their teachers or sages. It was more about meditation and chanting and rituals. There were, in fact, no major poses like we practice today, or the asanas. But as people began to live their lives differently, they found they liked the shapes to detoxify their bodies, to build strength, to build openness, to prevent disease, and to prepare themselves for meditation and chanting and rituals, all with that goal of connection, union. As that side feels complete, release and switch. Left ankle over your right thigh. Same option to stay, foot on the ground, hug it in. If there's something else you know from here or like, please feel free to take it. Notice the spaces in between, the stillness and the silence. and slowly release. Feet on the ground, knees point up to the sky for a bridge. Hands come palms flat by your sides. And you want your ankles below your knees. So for some of us, that means you can touch your heels with your fingers. For others, that might be a little bit more forward or a little further back. As we lift, if it feels funky on your knees, feel free to adjust where your feet are on your mat. Ideally, they're about hip distance. You're gonna press through your heels, turn on the backs of your legs, glutes and hamstrings like you did in your chair pose, and lift yourself up. And now we're not coming onto our neck, so there's still a little space in the back of your neck, and ideally head stays pretty still, so try not to look around. Palms can stay flat. If you like, you can do what I call robot arms, which is bending your elbows, pressing the backs of your arms, triceps into the mat, palms face each other around your torso. Or you can interlace your fingers and shimmy your shoulders a little closer together. Find a little movement there to open up through your chest. See if you can lift your hips just a bit higher without forcing it. Breathe into your hip flexors, your low belly, your ribs, your chest. Find a sense of length and expansion along your spine. Release any grip you have of your hands and slowly roll yourself back down. Draw knees to chest, rock side to side. Make some circles with your knees in both directions. Keep your right leg hugging in, extend your left leg out long, and then reach your right foot to the sky. You can hold on anywhere. It might be behind your thigh, behind your calf, up to your foot. Point and flex your toes, roll your ankle. A little bit of movement here, maybe a gentle pull in. You can stay just as you are, or you can bend your knee and take this to a spinal twist. Draw your leg across your body. Right arm reaches out wide. Back to center, both knees into chest. Some little circles or movement, rocket side to side, and then switch. Right leg extends, left foot to the sky. Hold on wherever you comfortably can. Point, flex, roll your ankle. Take some gentle pulses in or a gentle stretch in. And either stay like that or bend your knee and find your spinal twist in the opposite direction. When your sides feel even, back to center. Knees into chest. We'll just take one last shape before our final rest. Happy baby. Feet flex to the sky. You can hold on behind your legs, your calves, your feet, whatever you reach. The goal is to keep your low back down on the ground. So more of a neutral spine, long spine versus rounding and lifting your bottom. So gently pull your knees outside your wrists. Keep that length through your low back. Keep breathing. And find your way into final rest. Legs extend, arms can go by your sides, palms face up. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. If you'd rather have them open and soft, or if you'd rather be in a different shape, you are more than welcome to find that. This is ultimately what our practice comes down to, this moment of presence, hopefully of connection, practicing the union, the true yoga. Doesn't mean that there's a certain way to experience it. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. Simply let whatever's going to happen, happen, and observe with detached awareness. And you can stay in this shape as long as you like. If you do feel ready to move on, start with small movements, little wiggles of fingers, toes, a gentle rock side to side of your head, maybe a full body stretch. And either keep your eyes closed or a soft gaze with your eyes, come up to a comfortable seat. You can face any direction and it can look like any seat or feel like any seat. Take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And again, notice your breath. The rise and fall of your chest. Maybe the expansion of your belly like a balloon with each breath in. Tapping into that diaphragm. Maybe notice one side of your breath feels more natural to take in or push out. Longer. And when you're ready, palms come together in front of your heart. We end our practice with the word namaste. And for many people, this means the light in me bows to and honors the light within you. Other people simply use it as a greeting. I think it's a nice kind of formal way of ending and acknowledging ourselves, our practice, those who have come before us and those who will come after us. So I still like to use it, but you're welcome to simply thank yourself. You can place your thumbs between your eyebrows, connecting body, mind, and spirit. Hopefully carrying some of the awareness you just practiced on your mat into other aspects of your life. We'll gently bow our heads and say namaste together. Namaste. Take your time getting up. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I will see you soon.